Welcome to the director's commentary. I know yesterday I said that the pro features of the GoPro Hero 12 are worth it if you're a colorist or you're a color grading enthusiast. I still stand by what I said, but I wanted to bring something astounding to your attention. Check out these clips. If you go back and look at any video where I'm using the Hero 11 or Hero 12, you'll notice something. You'll notice the exposure changing as I fly in darker or lighter areas, or I'm facing the sun versus facing the ground. While I have the shutter speed locked at 180 degrees, I did not lock the ISO in these clips. When I enabled GP log, it seemed to automagically set the minimum and maximum ISO to 100 and 400 respectively. No big deal, it wants to limit exposure change. But if you look closely in these clips, there is no discernible exposure changes, yet the shadows and the highlights are all properly exposed. How does it do this? Well, I think I figured it out. It looks like the GoPro is modulating the ISO on a per-pixel basis and using part of its machine learning model that runs on the GoPro to decide what type of scene it is and whether to give each pixel ISO 100 through 400. If you notice, the only highlight that's actually clipped out is the sun itself or any direct reflections of the sun. No shadows are crushed to black, despite the rather aggressive contrast I used in these relatively simple grades. I did not split the ground and sky like I usually do. All of this is seemingly automatic. Some back of the napkin maths says that the Hero 12 has 3 stops more dynamic range than its predecessors. Again, I need to test in a laboratory environment to be sure. I decided to play around with the LUTs provided by GoPro just to see if they were an easy shortcut for my workflow. They are, in fact, shit. In fact, I found out the LUTs discard much of the exposure information in the highlights. I found them to be wholly unacceptable. Using the LUT for native white balance caused an incredibly blue shift and oddly enough fringing around the edges of sharp shadows. It was disgusting. I would highly recommend not using these LUTs. Perhaps I'll produce a tutorial on how to grade GP log without the LUTs, because you'll not lose any exposure information by working manually. Now back to GP log. I feel like GoPro has been able to accomplish something that no other camera maker has done, or at least admitted to. They're using an AI algorithm to fake the funk, as it were, since the sensor is the same as what was in the Hero 11. Just like most cell phones these days that take great photos, it comes down to computational photography. I'm unsure if the minimum and maximum ISO can be modified for GP log, but I found that with an ND32 filter, it was perfect. The dead giveaway was a really deep shadow in one of the clips that started with no noise, then all of a sudden had noise without really changing exposure. It seemed to lag slightly on deciding that that element needed ISO 400. Then I got to thinking about it. This has to be how it's done. I found a bug in the GoPro Labs firmware. I used true 24 Hz frame rate for 24 frames per second as opposed to 23.976 by way of this firmware. The bug is that the gyro data does not perfectly align with this true 24 Hz frame rate, and it's forced to repeat a frame with different gyro information on occasion. It's not very obvious as it doesn't appear to happen much, but I was able to catch it and analyze it. This will likely be fixed in short order in the lab's firmware. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like a tutorial on manually grading GP log for the Hero 12. We'll see if there's proper interest.